Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of Rick and Morty, The Whirly Durly Conspiracy. And I really like this episode because it really kind of showed a lot of character growth for a lot of the different characters involved. And it just had a really cool kind of premise with like both storylines, because there wasn't one kind of overarching one and then like just kind of like a B plot to kind of pad it out. I think both of them were kind of given equal kind of weight to kind of show what we're learning about our characters. So we get into it and we see Jerry doing his routine of being alone and being sad, separated from his family and all that. And of course he's like in bed, and then Rick comes in pretty much like, "Come on, Jerry, I need your help," and all that. And he's like, "Get some pants on." "Wait a minute, we don't have time for pants." "All right, I'll make you some pants. Come on, Rick and Jerry episode." And it was just like, yes, there you go. So, of course, they're flying through, and we're kind of pretty much focusing mostly on them throughout the majority of the episode, and then going to the B part with Morty, Beth, and Summer kind of sporadically throughout. So the whole thing with Rick and Jerry is they're kind of like flying through, and Jerry's kind of like resigned himself to this fate, thinking that Rick's about to execute him. And he's like, "No, I'm here to take you on pretty much a pity adventure because your son's worried that you're going to get so sad that you'll kill yourself." And he's like, "Damn, okay." And of course, they like stop at a place, and Jerry's like, "Wow, this is really fancy." And he's like, "Dude, you know nothing of this universe. This could be a truck stop, but yes, it is fancy." So, of course, they're kind of like going through this kind of resort place, and out of nowhere, this dude impales Rick with a spear, and then, of course, they're like talking like, "Yeah, I'm gonna kill you, Rick," and all that, and it'll be your funeral. It's like, "Yeah, and I told you last time if this happens, there's gonna be 2 funerals," and then slices his throat with like a broken bottle, and you're like thinking, "What the hell?" Jerry's like freaking out, and he's like, "We need help or something," and then he heals, and the dude that attacks him heals. He's like, "Don't worry, Jerry, there's an immortality field around this whole resort." And then you start seeing some really disturbing shit, like these kids running around, and there's one boy kid, which is like shooting his sister to kill her, and then you pop back up and like, oh, so yeah, consequence free, kill anybody, you can eat everything you want and not have a heart attack. See this fat guy just like shoveling down food and everything, like, jeez. And of course they're kind of like saying, all right, how do we get our like fake adventure straight and everything? And of course Jerry goes into this like whole spiel and everything, and of course he's like, whatever, I'm going to the restroom. So he goes to the restroom, and he's like drying his hands. He gets sucked in, and he's like, whoa, okay. And this one dude who's like part of the whole resort and everything is trying to ask for Jerry's help in killing Rick, because Rick had evidently helped someone usurp his kingdom. And he's like, well, okay, I don't really kind of want to go for that. Yeah, he's ruined my marriage and everything, but I really don't want to do anything with that. But he's like, all right, there's this whirly-durly thing that like goes outside of the immortality field, so if you change your mind or anything, go for it. And then he has to go up and like sing for like a group birthday party. So he comes back, and Rick's like kind of apologizing to him a little bit, but of course Rick does his backhanded compliments, pretty much pushing him, being like, well, Beth really wasn't happy with you and everything, but I'm still kind of sorry that I ruined your marriage and all that kind of stuff. But he doesn't really get that much into really saying that he's sorry until they get to the whirly-durly, because Jerry's just like, all right, let's go and do this. And of course, they got the 2 people that are set up to like take out Rick once they go through that portion. But of course, this is where Rick really starts getting into it and saying sorry and everything for what he's done to Jerry's life. And of course, this promotes Jerry to like change his whole thing on this and be like, we gotta get off here. And of course, they get on, and the shot doesn't work exactly well. It like hits Jerry when they're like re-entering the immortality field. He's like, oh shit! So of course, Rick starts taking him out and everything, and the whole place goes to hell. The immortality field is like ripped off. They get shot off to a distant part of the planet, and of course, we see the whole like ramifications of the immortality field, where the 2 kids who were playing killing each other, he kills his sister. He's like, "Oh God, I'm sorry." It's like he's freaking out. It's like shit. And then, of course, Rick's like, you son of a bitch, Jerry. You're a predator, just like where you went for Beth and everything. You use pity as your weapon, as like Jerry's getting eaten by the snake thing and everything. It's like, oh no, I just needed that vial and everything to attract this thing. And it's like, oh shit. And of course, Rick is able to capture it, and he takes Jerry along with him because, of course, he wants Morty to still go on his adventures. And he's put into this like one sack where the creature's testicles keep hitting Jerry in the face. So of course they get to a place that is pretty much like a cruise liner, and Jerry's through the metal detector, but of course they get to Rick. He's got all these cyborg enhancements, and they just inject him with this essentially placating serum that'll make him not think controversial thoughts and everything. And of course, Jerry, of course, is trying to get his shots back in, but Rick can't really fight back at that point. It's like, you're kind of being a dick, Jerry. I mean, come on. Then, of course, the dude who had tried to set up the whole thing pretty much takes them back, and he's like, listen, you're not worth killing, Jerry. You're not worth the bullet. And, of course, Jerry tries to stop him from killing Rick in this state, and he's like, all right, you're starting to piss me off. And a shot goes off and takes out the temporal shield, and they all kind of, we see this trippy scene with, like, Jerry going through time with them and kind of, like, getting in their headspaces. We see Rick in a dress nursing the head baby dude in the thing. It was really fucking weird, but it was kind of funny too, because they get back out and Rick has, his serum has lost its effects, and he kills the one dude. He's like, yeah, I know he was going to come to try and kill me eventually. I wasn't going to let that happen. So of course they get in the escape pod and they get back to Earth, and this is around the time that Morty and them had wrapped up their adventure as well, and he's like, oh, wait, Rick, I kind of don't have my wallet and bus pass and everything. He's like, see you, Jerry, and then closes his door. Laser come down, gun out, and he, like, goes to talk to Morty, Summer, and Beth and all that. I was like, okay. We learned more about Jerry and everything, kind of had an understanding with Rick, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And the B story was actually just as good. Starts off the premise, we see Beth is upset, not Beth, Summer's upset because her boyfriend broke up with her to be with another girl, and we see Beth making a sculpture out of horse hooves. And Morty's like, okay, it's kind of crazy. He's like, I need to do something to, like, get myself through this crap. So, of course, Summer was asking Beth if she thought that she was attractive. And she's like, I don't know how to, like, go through, I don't know what to do with this kind of thing. And she just keeps going on to her sculpture, and Summer goes out into the garage looking around for something, and she's pretty much blaming it that this other chick had stripper tits, so she gets the idea to try and make her breasts bigger. So she gets, and she's trying to, like, get them even out, and of course this leads to her having her whole body pretty much turned into a giant, and Morty and Beth kind of go out and, like, get her out, and she's like, I'm not normal, and of course Morty wants to call Rick right away to kind of, like, figure out how this machine works, but of course Beth is like, no, I need to win, kind of like her dad, and starts to do stuff and pretty much stop Morty from doing it. And of course they start messing around, and they get to the point where they kind of, they reverse Beth's inside so that they're outside, but yet she's somehow still alive. And of course she's like, oh shit. And of course she's calling the customer service, not Rick, and is tricked by these little guys inside the machine, and they run away, and she's like, shit. And then of course Morty goes off on her about this whole thing, and he's like, listen, you are just like freaking Grandpa Rick. You don't listen to anybody, you get us into this shit, and then when I try and do something, you're just fucking it all up. And then of course the one neighbor's trying to be nosy, and he's like, keep your nose out of this shit, and we see Morty kind of not turning into Rick, but taking on Rick-like things, in that he's not his dad. He is not going to take shit lying down anymore. He's like, I'm pissed off at this shit, and he starts kind of becoming a little bit more proactive as well. We see that Summer has left, and they're like, oh crap, what do we do? So of course they get the machine into the car and everything, and him and Beth kind of have their kind of moment. He's like, yeah, I kind of figured this out. She's like, yeah, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. And he's like, yeah, you told her she looks attractive and everything. That's what you do. And because, as we've seen, they don't have the parenting down quite right. Now, granted, no parent is perfect, but Beth's dealing with her own stuff and doesn't see that like Summer's dealing with her stuff and try to like relate to her and try and like get that situation knocked out because that'll help her possibly get through her stuff. Oh, she's focusing on her horse sculpture and then trying to have her own win of like reversing Summer back to normal. So of course, she gets her own plan of attack and we get to this camp, which was a funny joke saying like, it's a camp that it sounds like they gave up halfway through naming. And of course they get out there, we see Summer's ex-boyfriend with his new kind of girlfriend, and we see Summer come into view, and then we see that Beth had turned herself into a giant and Inside Out to relate to Summer and everything. They have their moment and everything. And we see Morty do one of the most Rick-like things, because his Ethan's other girlfriend has like left at this point to talk to her mom and everything. She's like, "Oh, that's so sweet." And then he's like, "Yeah, you gotta watch out. Your s'mores are gonna be burning and everything. Made my sister cry, man." So, and just seeing him be like so nonchalant and just like that cold-blooded kind of Rick, it's like, where's this gonna go with Morty? This is actually pretty interesting. So of course, he like starts messing with the machine, and we don't see exactly what happens at that point. We just cut back to what has happened at the end of Rick and Jerry's adventure. But at the end of the episode, we see the three little guys talking, and like, "Yeah, we're retired and everything." And on the bridge that they're kind of like under, we see Ethan has been turned into kind of like a monster kind of thing with like enlarged certain things. Like, Morty ain't fucking around no more. Rick better watch out, because Morty might not be as smart as him. He will probably use some kind of tactic or cunning that Rick will not expect, because Rick has that arrogance that he has his control over Morty. And as we're seeing, that's starting to bleed through into Morty, and that's going to probably create a lot of different problems later on. But then we see this like bird come down and take one of the guys, so that was funny to see that Morty has kind of like not given up, but like eschewed his father's kind of view of kind of laying down and taking things, and has really kind of gone into his own and will actively fuck over someone who he's deemed fuck over him or his family. So it's like, wow, that's pretty cool. And seeing also Beth trying to connect with Summer, and Summer dealing with her stuff, and Beth dealing with her stuff, is pretty sweet. So I'm really interested to see what's going to like happen at the end of this season, or where we're going to have all the various characters and what's going to be going on. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.